It's late night with Cristo. So popular on the phones tonight. We were running a little bit behind time, but we were also discussing tonight class. There are various reasons why we're talking about class. One of them being Princess Anne's living room photo and the documentary that will be on television. And it's by a rapper in Scotland. I'll give you more details after the news at midnight because I want to get straight to our guest to discuss this. Gary Stevenson, an inequality economist, former city trader, live via video link. Evening to you, Gary.
Hi, Cristo. Nice to meet you.
And you. Thanks for taking the time to talk to us tonight here on Talk Radio. So, an inequality economist. So obviously, that's looking at the economic side of inequality. But does that mean that is an inequality that is driven by class? Does class still truly exist in Great Britain in the year 2021?
Personally, for me, the experiences of my life, a little bit about me. I come from a place called Ilford in East London, and I grew up from quite a poor background. Studied hard in school. I was able to go to London School of Economics and then Oxford University and eventually get a job in the city. For me, class was a massive, massive thing. For me, a big thing which I realized, these spaces I went into, these universities, these jobs, there was a real sense for me that there wasn't basically anybody there from my sort of background. And I think a big thing really is it's that experience of, have you ever woken up and looked in the mirror and thought, if I don't make this, I don't know if I'm ever going to be secure. I'm ever going to be able to buy a house. I'm ever going to be able to have a family. People from where I'm from, me, my parents, we've had that experience. And I'm sure a lot of listeners will have had that experience as well. But in these spaces, Oxford University, a lot of these jobs in the city, if these guys mess up, if they make a mistake, if they lose their job, when they need that 70 grand, 100 grand deposit to buy a house, they can go to their parents and get it, So they've never had that experience of, am I going to be safe? Is my family going to be safe? And right now, I'm sure a lot of listeners will be feeling that every day.
So for me,
exactly, yeah.
And there's so much I want to talk to you about this, and because there was a really interesting report a couple of months ago, and it kind of boomerangs. It comes back now and then, and you'll be very familiar with this about the issues facing working class white boys, and the fact that they are now a demographic, especially in schools and especially when it comes to getting further in life, that appear to be not doing so well. They appear to be, falling behind. Do you think with really good intentions, and I don't say this in trying to be overtly controversial, but do you think with really good intentions, we've concentrated so much on racial inequality for good reasons in this country, and we've perhaps forgotten that there is still actually a real class inequality in this country that actually goes far broader than race? You could be of a working class background, whatever race you might be.
I'd say obviously, people who see me can tell that's the background I'm from. I'm from a working class white background. The thing I see basically is, in the path I've traveled in my life, I went to school out in East London, with people from all different colors there. And then growing up and getting jobs in the city, one thing I've seen is, to be honest, really, obviously I can only speak from my background, but people from my class, really, regardless of what color, race, religion they are, they're not making it into these spaces. That is the biggest thing for me, because...
Why?
Well, for a variety of reasons, and, it would take a long time to go into that. I think the first thing is they're not getting into the top universities. And, I went to Oxford University, I studied economics. And this is a madness, really, because, economics is the study of, the finances in our society. It's not like physics. You drop a rich person and a poor person out of the window, they're going to fall at the same speed. But the economy for these people is massively different. And yet you go to the Oxford University economics department, it's 50 professors who all of them, they've never struggled for money, wearing capes, teaching in castles. You know what I mean? These guys don't know what the situation is like for ordinary people. So for me, to be honest, and, you can ask people from different ethnic backgrounds. For me, I feel that regardless of ethnic background, people from where I'm from, and the place where I'm from has people from a lot of different ethnic backgrounds, none of us are making it. We need to get more people from all different colors from the ordinary class into these places.
What makes someone, because this all started actually not just because of these stories, but someone was asking about the working class presenter lineup here on Talk Radio. I was saying, well, I'm probably working class, and that came from where I felt like I'd come from with my parents, and my parents being, my son of an immigrant, and not being educated into further education. My dad leaving school at a very young age. But people saying, no, you're not working class because of where you are in your life. So how do you equate whether someone is working class? What actually makes you working class?
Yeah, I mean, this is a question I get all the time, because, like yourself, I feel that I come from working class backgrounds. We were poor growing up. I was living in a crowded house in a bunk bed in a small room next to the railway. I felt poor growing up, and I felt like I didn't have much. But I've worked in the city and I've made a lot of money and I'm not poor now. And sometimes people turn around to me and they say, you're not working class. But for me, it's like I said before, it's that question, have you been in a situation where you've looked at yourself and said, look, I'm hanging on here, and if I slip, I'm going to fall all the way to the bottom. You know what I mean? And some people knew that when they was a kid and they made money and now they're secure. But the fact is, people know how it feels to not have security, to not have somebody who's going to catch you if you fall. And increasingly now, more and more people are in that situation where they're thinking, no matter how hard I work, am I ever going to get a house? And I felt like that when I was a kid. And, I know that I'm lucky. I know that I'm blessed and I'm thankful for everything that I've made. But the truth is, I've seen both sides of the coin. I know that ordinary people, they're looking at themselves and they're thinking, do I have a chance to even have a family, to have a house? And then there's other people, their parents will just buy them one when they turn 21, So for me, and obviously I'm an economist, so I'm going to say this, it's about that question of, do you have security? Do you have that chance? And do you know that you're going to be safe? And there's a lot of people out there, they don't know if they're going to be safe. That's why I'm out here trying to give economic advice to ordinary people on my socials and stuff, because I know how difficult it is for ordinary people. And for me, I think that's what makes a difference.
It's really interesting to talk to you. We must get you back on sometime when time is not against us, because I found this absolutely fascinating. But Gary Stevenson, in the meantime, really appreciate you taking the time to talk to us tonight here on Talk Radio. Do you agree with what Gary's got to say about what makes you working class? And is it about that safety net, that security net? Is it about where you come from your parents? Are you always working class, even if you've got money? You've just heard from Gary. He says he's made a lot of money in his life, but he still considers himself working class. 0344 499 1000. We'll explore this a little bit more coming up in the next hour. And we'll also take some more of your calls about the absolute frustration about no roadmap out of lockdown.